What's going on, everybody? TG here, and we are back with another video. And I got two amazing stocks that I think you should add to, and I've already started adding to one of them right now. Nvidia and AMD, the two big chip makers, GPU and CPU. And as we know, these guys are top of the line for both of them. AMD is the best when it comes to the CPU, and Nvidia is the best when it comes to the GPU. A lot of great news on the horizon for these companies. Also, amazing earnings just happened from both of these companies, and yet the stocks had tumbled pretty hard. So I wanted to break down Nvidia first because that's the position that I recently added to. I dropped about 3,000 into that position, but we will be adding about 2,500 more once my money clears up. So I want to break down their earnings first because it just happened and it was truly incredible. 61% year over year growth in revenue, net income 53% year over year growth. Just an incredible quarter that we have just not seen in a long time from that. Just clear up growth, and that's always amazing for a company. Dropping its PE ratio down, so now it is about only 74, which is huge. I think actually 71. Um, Especially after today, it continues to get beat down after amazing earnings, and also they have a potential acquisition of ARM for 40 billion. Remember, we talked about this in the last video on Nvidia, but essentially, they're trying to acquire ARM and get their holdings and get those chips out themselves, so they can have the technology to be able to license them. And it's huge. I mean, and obviously, a lot of companies like Intel are not happy about this because they all use ARM's technology. So there's been some debate if it's going to be doomed or not. I personally think the acquisition will go through. It's a pretty standard acquisition, and it will be huge for Nvidia. And you could see the stock fly at least 10% that day if it actually does go through, just because it's so critical long term speaking. Obviously, some people see, paying 40 billion now, but when you look down the line at how much this company is going to bring in for Nvidia, especially with their marketing, it's incredible. And I think that Nvidia having ARM holdings as well makes it the best of the best for both sectors. And I think that it goes higher. It goes a lot higher. So that's what we're betting on. But another thing I want to talk about is AMD, because AMD's been getting beat down pretty badly as well. I mean, this thing was sitting pretty about a month ago, and it's had a little bit of a correction, about 14% since then. But again, another amazing company that had in one of the best quarters I think I've ever seen from AMD ever, and I do mean ever. We look at revenue, 52% year over year growth. Net income up 947% year over year, coming in at 1.78 billion net income. That's probably the most important statistic for me right there, is the net income. Profit margins 54%. This was a quarter. Lisa Su, she's the CEO, has done an amazing job with this company, and I see this company next year being over $100 a share. I think that's actually pretty conservative, to be honest with you. This company is so good and has a decent amount of cash on hand as well, a little over a billion, 1.6 billion. But this quarter just proves that they're the best of the best. They are beating out Intel on every metric and sector. They are beating Intel out on. And I think they're going to continue to do that over and over again. And with this chip shortage, I think this is really good for companies like AMD and Nvidia. And I say you buy onto these companies. They're the best of what they do, and that's huge. You want a company that's that can do that. That is the top of the line. And so obviously these companies are getting hit hard. I mean, Nvidia is about to drop in the 400s. It's having a really rough month. It's having a rough 3 month. It's still up a ton for the year, don't get me wrong. But I mean, ever since about August, this company has been completely stagnant. Reminds me a lot of Amazon, which has done the exact same thing, except Amazon's been stagnant and actually lost about 5% value since the summertime. So a lot of these companies are poised to do well. Like I said, we picked up a position in Nvidia long term, saying it's going to be above $470 a share. I think that's pretty reasonable. We got paid $1,230 to risk 3,000. So almost a 40% return on investment for that. I think that's a pretty good deal. I want to add another one, but I don't have any buying power, so I have to wait till I go over to E-Trade, but that process is taking a lot longer than expected. Robinhood is extremely annoying. when it comes to transferring. But I think these are good quality picks, and I think you can't go wrong picking either one. Personally, if I had to choose, I'd pick Nvidia just because of that arm holding. I think that would just cement it as the GOAT. But at the same time, you can't go wrong with AMD either. I mean, AMD's got its P ratio down to only 39 now, which is just incredible. It's really making its way up, especially after that quarter. And those profit margins just continue to increase and increase. I mean, if you look every time, it's just getting bigger and bigger. And then you have a quarter like this, and the stock gets sold off. That's a buying opportunity. I mean, we're seeing AMD in the 70s right now. We haven't seen that in quite some time. Even as low as 6 months ago, it's lower than it was. It had that run up in August, if you guys remember, an incredible run up, and then it hasn't really done much since. So, you have to look at these things, and obviously the Nasdaq has just been getting killed every single day with rising interest rates, and it stinks. But I wouldn't look at the Nasdaq and look at these; they're very different. The Nasdaq has had an extraordinary run up, but these companies really haven't. If we look at it back in August, these companies have actually lost value, lost 7.5%. So those are the ones you want to pick up. You want to pick up the laggers, the ones that have the earnings to back them, and yet people just kind of neglect them. I think that's a company you pick up. And obviously, we've been getting the crap beat out of us in our portfolio recently. Just down freaking 42K in the past month. It's brutal. Companies continue to get sold off, especially Amazon that I own. But I do genuinely believe that it will be good overall. I really do. But I think you gotta pick some of these companies up. Nvidia or AMD especially. Pick them up. Pick up one of them. Whatever one you like best. If you're more of a GPU or CPU guy, and you think that's better for the future, go with that. But I see both of these companies going much, much higher. So I'm curious to know what you guys think about these, especially compared to the other ones in the sector. I think that Nvidia just takes the throne when it comes to their GPUs. I don't think anyone really comes close to that, and I don't think anyone comes close to AMD's CPUs. So especially when it comes to gaming, I think these are the two best. And gaming's obviously just going to continue to get bigger and bigger as time goes on. So I think it's a solid buy. I think that they're constantly innovating. Both amazing CEOs at the helm, and some big things on the horizon. So watch these companies very closely because I think they go higher. I think obviously everything is getting sold off now. The broader market is just continuing to get sold off. But I mean, like I said, they're following the same basic chart as some of these other tech stocks that have lagged. And I think those are the ones you want to pick up, to be honest with you. Those are the ones you really want to, own. You don't want to own a company that's already gone up 600% in the past year. You want to own a company that's actually, puts out good numbers, puts out good earnings, has good news, and doesn't get the recognition it deserves, because those are the ones that are going to thrive when people actually find out about it. I mean, we've seen this with AMD for years, where it just stays stagnant and stagnant and stagnant, and finally people see it and it just runs up big. So anyways, guys, that's about it for today. Like I said, a rough day in the market, but I think we will recover very soon. That's why I'm going very long term on a lot of these. I'm trying to close out the rest of these 326 and 4-1s, but it's been proving to be a little bit more difficult than I expected. So anyways, guys, have a wonderful day. I will talk to you next video. Take it easy, guys. Bye.